Hello, everybody. I'd like to welcome y'all to the first episode of Beyond the Fear podcast. I'm your host, DJ, and introducing myself to y'all a little bit. What got me started on this podcast journey was a few years ago. A lot of my friends were just like, "Man, you should write a book." And I'm just like, yeah, okay. Not really taking it into consideration, not really taking it seriously, but just like, okay. Then it went to you should do a blog, and then right after like COVID and shut down and things, it was like, man, you should do a podcast. You should do a podcast. And I thought about it, and as I started to watch other podcasts on YouTube, I'm like, yeah, I could do that. That's something that I wouldn't mind doing because that's something that we do. At work all the time, not thinking about it. It's just like, what if you just put a camera on this man? Like, there go a podcast right there. So, yeah, it was something that I started thinking about, and then I think for me, I just started to not take it seriously just because of the fear, right? I was assuming that no one would want to listen, no one would care, um, or asking myself why anyone would care. So I was just putting way too many doubts in my head, and I let the fear and the doubts kind of just push me off the idea. And I think one of the things that changed for me to make me start taking it seriously was when I moved to Houston. I met two guys who were thinking of similar things, like, man, let's do a podcast. Like, bro, we could do an hour or whatever of us just talking to each other. It's entertaining. So, and I think that sparked and that brought back that spark of doing a podcast was just talking to them and realizing like, okay, yeah, this is something we could do, but still I had other people with me. So if I failed, again, I wouldn't fail alone. So I was still using that as a crutch. So a couple of things happened, had to move back home, had to move back to Mississippi, and again, didn't really think about doing a podcast after that. So I got a job, my last job. Um, I came in expecting to do one job. I was expecting to do the job that I actually interviewed for. I sat down with him. He told me what the job would be. I agreed to do that job. And I understand that when you start a job, hey, sometimes you're going to have to do other perform other tasks. It might be a slow day. They might need you in another department, whatever the case may be. So I don't ever want to make it seem like I didn't understand that I would be doing other things besides my main job, because I did understand that. I did understand, okay, there will be times when they need me to do something else. They need me to go here, go there. Completely understood that. So my first couple of days when I was doing something that come totally different than the job that I came in to do, I'm like, okay, they need to take time to get me in the system, to get me trained up, things like that. And what I will say is what they had me doing at first, it did help me learn the lay of the land. It did help me start putting names with faces, start understanding where certain departments was. So it was a good experience. Um, the problem came when I kept hearing, no, this is the job. This is the job. I don't know what he told you in the interview, but this is the job. This is what you're going to be doing. And so I never wanted to take their word. The coworkers who were telling me this, I didn't want to take their word over going to my manager and actually asking him, hey, is this the job, or will I be doing what you actually hired me to do, or is there just a combination of it? So I sat down with him, and that conversation didn't go too well, because he was just more along the lines of, well, do I need to give you print out the job description? And my thing was, you can print out the job description, that's fine, and I'll read it, sign, okay, I read the job description, but I'm coming to you and I'm asking you, hey, am I going to be doing more of the job that you told me that I would be doing, or am I going to be doing more of what I'm doing now? I just wanted a simple answer. And so days go by, and I'm still not getting any concrete answer from him. He's kind of skirting the situation, skirting the conversation, or skirting that particular answer. And and I understood some of the things that he was saying, like, hey, you doing this right now so that you can learn the area, learn the name. So I understood that part, but I'm like, okay, a month from now or 2 months from now, once I've learned the names, I've learned the areas, am I still going to be doing this, or will I be doing what I came here to do, or is it going to be a combination of the both, the combination of the two? And at no point in time did he ever give me a concrete, yes, you will still be doing this, no, you won't be doing this, or yes, you'll be doing a combination of the two. And so I started to get frustrated and miserable. And I think for me, I was just getting so uncomfortable, so frustrated, so pissed with him and the job, that it was just like, man, if I'm going to be this uncomfortable, I might as well do something I want to do. I might as well put time into what I want to do. And so that's when the real idea of, like, let's do this. Let's really start thinking about doing this podcasting thing, was that job. So just being in that uncomfortable situation and being uncomfortable for, that amount of time made me just realize, okay, hey, if I'm going to be uncomfortable anyway, I might as well do something that I want to do, something that'll potentially help me grow more than staying at this job. So I started doing videos on TikTok, which was a huge thing for me because I don't even like taking pictures. So to go from not taking pictures to now all of a sudden I'm putting my videos out there for the world to see, it was a scary thought. So for the longest time, not for the longest time, for probably about a week, I created a TikTok, and for a week I just didn't do anything. And so finally it was like, what you gonna do? You gonna let your fear control you, or you gonna start putting videos out? So I was just like, you know what, start putting the videos out. And got a lot of positive feedback, and that gave me a lot of encouragement. And so eventually it was like, okay, the videos are doing well, but they're only going to do but so much for you. Like, you gotta get on here and really start doing the podcasting thing. But again, I was letting doubts, I was letting fear creep back into my head, like, okay, they're not gonna listen, and it's gonna fail, and it's gonna. So for the longest time, so probably for about another month, 2 months, I just did videos and I didn't really do the podcast because, again, just letting the fear kind of creep in. And I was giving myself excuses like, oh, I don't have a name for the podcast, or oh, I have to write a guideline, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, and just making excuses for myself. And so I just want to shout out to some of my friends and some of my family. They know who they are, who started sending me videos like, what are you doing, what are you waiting for, what are you waiting on, things like that. And it just it started to motivate me. And so it's like, you know what, I got to get out my comfort zone. I can't keep making all of these positive, inspirational, motivational videos and putting them on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and not doing the things that I say in the videos. I'm not living the stuff that I'm talking about. So I got to start taking my own advice. So one day I just got on there and got on the computer, and I just started really just brainstorming ideas about a name, because I figured, like, just start with something simple, just find a name, figure out a name, and see if that inspires you to want to podcast, want to do the episode, things like that. So I was just kind of going through names. I was thinking about motivation, I was thinking about inspiration, encouragement. These are all the names that's playing in my head. And then I saw a post that said something like, strength is on the other side of fear. And so that was playing in the back of my head. So I'm like, fear, what am I going through right now? I'm struggling. So at first I was going to do through the struggle. That was going to be the name at first. And then I was like, I'm not really feeling it. So what about fear? Okay, on the other side of fear. That's too long. So it was just like other side of fear. And I'm like, Okay, that's cool, but let's keep going. What else can we? What else can we? What else can we? What else can we see? What else can we do? Pull from it, and then like out of nowhere, it was like beyond the fear. And so that's the name of the podcast because that's where I'm trying to be. That's where I'm trying to motivate people to get to is to get past the fear. We all have fear. Even as I'm doing this podcast right now, I still have fear. I'm still scared of things, but I'm not allowing the fear to stop me from trying because all I can do is try. It don't work. I figure out why it didn't work and try again. You know, I have people who I can lean on for support, lean on for positive motivation. I can lean on to give me that good kick in the butt when I need to, when I'm not doing what I need to be doing or I'm being lazy. So, you know, so that was the whole premise of the podcast was just showing people that there's nothing wrong with being afraid. Everybody has fear, whether they talk about it or show it or not. Everybody has things that they're afraid of, especially when trying something new. So, but there's so much once you get beyond the fear, once you get on the other side of the fear, it's so much room to grow. You have so much room to progress. You start to realize, okay, it's not as bad as I thought it was. Once you stop letting that fear paralyze you. So that's the main thing, or the main point of this podcast is just talking about what's on the other side of fear, or just really the main thing is just encouraging, uplifting, motivating people while just having a good time, having fun, and just showing people what you can do and who you can become when you stop letting your fear control you. Because for me, I don't sit here and act like I'm high on the perch or I'm this person who is above all. No, I'm just like everybody else. I'm struggling just like everybody else. I'm struggling to find a job. I'm struggling to pay bills. I'm struggling. I can be honest about that. I am going through my own struggles, but I'm not allowing my struggles or my fears to stop me from going after my dreams and going after the things that I want. And I want people to hear my story and to get some type of motivation from it. Like, okay, well, if he can get past his fears, why can't I? Or if he still has his fears, but he's still going for it, he's still trying, what excuses do I have? And I mean, there's so many people out there doing the same thing, going beyond their fear, or just dealing with their fear, or just at the very least not letting their fear continue to paralyze them. And so that's the main thing for me, is just trying to push people, trying to motivate people to stop allowing their fears to hold them back, because we all have them, but that doesn't mean that it has to stop you from growing or stop you from being the person that you want to be. Like, you have so much potential, but we hold ourselves back so much. Like, we are our biggest critics, we are our biggest obstacles, and sometimes we have to get past ourselves, and it's so hard because we don't see ourselves as the obstacle. We see ourselves as protection, the protector. We're protecting our dreams, we're protecting ourselves from the world, and it's like, no, you're just hindering yourself from trying, you're hindering yourself from growing, because we get stuck in this comfort zone. And I've done that, and I still do that in other aspects of my life, where it's like, okay, it's time to get out that comfort zone. Yes, you're used to doing this type of job, but hey, if a dishwasher job opens up, go get it. If a stalker job opens up, apply for it. Are you really struggling that bad? Do you really want to get out of your struggles? And if you really do, then you're going to get out of your comfort zone. If there's this job available and they're willing to hire you, but it's not what you're used to doing, so you don't want to take it, or you feel like it's beneath you and you don't want to take it, then you're not really trying to get out your struggle. You would much rather struggle in your comfort zone than to get out of your comfort zone to get out of your struggle. And sometimes that has to happen. You have to get out of your comfort zone to get out of your struggle. The reason why you're struggling might be because you're stuck in your comfort zone. So, man, there's so many lessons that I've just learned over these past couple of months about myself that I just want to tell y'all. So, like I said, on this podcast, it's gonna be pieces of my journey, pieces of other people's journey, things that I might see on TV, from a movie, a TV show that inspire me, that I want to come on here and talk about, or from another interview or a podcast or whatever the case may be, because my main thing is just uplifting people and showing people that showing people my journey from day one to wherever this may end up going, that yeah, we're going to have our highs, we're going to have our lows, but don't give up. That's the main thing, is just don't give up. Yeah, there are going to be times when you lose, you take losses, whatever the case may be, but just don't give up. I feel like that's going to be one of my main messages throughout wherever the podcast takes me, is just don't give up and look and see where you can go when you get out of your comfort zone. One of the things that I want to talk about on this first episode is self-reflection, or having that look in the mirror, right? Taking that hard look in the mirror at yourself. And that was something that I had to do a couple of times this year. And one of the main reasons why I had to do it was my relationship. And one of the reasons why I had to do it, or one of the reasons why the relationship was making me look in the mirror, is because we kept finding ourselves in the same spot. Like maybe taking a different route, but having the same argument and having the same problem, every couple of months. And when I looked in the mirror, one of the things that I realized about myself is, well, man, you're not growing. You're not learning from your experiences. You're not hearing her. You're not giving her a place where she can feel comfortable talking to you, feel comfortable expressing her concerns or her worries about you, about the relationship. And so that's one of the things where I have been trying to grow the most, is, just taking time to stop talking and just listen. Take in what people are saying, take in the information, analyze it, and then really try applying it to my life. And I'm not going to sit here and act like I've perfected it or that I'm an expert at it. I feel like I've gotten better than I was at it, but it's still a struggle. It's still a struggle for me, because too many times I feel like, well, I need to defend myself when they might not even be attacking me, but because I'm taking everything so personally, and or I'm taking it and I'm internalizing it and I'm making it about me when it could be about them. It could be, hey, I'm just struggling with this, and I'll hear it and be like, okay, I'm making you struggle with that, or whatever the case may be. I'm making everything about me because I'm internalizing it. So that's one of the things that I'm trying not to do. But I wouldn't have even realized, okay, that's something that I do, if I wouldn't have taken the time to really look in the mirror and really have a conversation with myself about, okay, why do I keep ending up in these same situations? Why do I keep having these same problems in this relationship, with friendships, with coworkers, with whatever? And it's just because I feel a need to internalize things. It could be something that ain't even about me, but I'll find a way to make it about me, and now I feel attacked, and now I feel like you're going against me, and okay, now that you're going against me, so now I'm gonna go against you, instead of taking the time to really listen, take in what they're saying, process it, and then go from there. And I was leading with my emotions way too much. And so I say all of that to say this: it's so important to have self-reflection. It's so important to take that time to look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself those real questions of, what am I doing wrong? What can I do better? How can I be better? How can I improve this situation? How can I improve myself? Have those real questions and have those real conversations with yourself, with the people who know you best. And you got to go into those conversations with an open mind, because yeah, they're probably going to say some things that you feel, man, y'all just tearing me down, but it's not them tearing you down, and it's just them being honest with you. And you need people in your life who are going to be honest with you and tell you, nah, man, that's wrong, or tell you, man, you can do better. You're better than that. You're dropping down 2-3 levels. You've been there already. You've been through that. You've elevated beyond that. Quit going back down there. So It's about self-reflection, but it's also about learning the lesson, because too many times we go through similar things because we're not learning the lessons. We're not learning whatever it is that we need to learn, whatever life, relationships, God, whatever they're trying to teach us. We're not learning those lessons, so we continue to repeat it because we're not learning. Okay, I keep putting my hand on that stove because I'm not learning. Okay, that's hot. You gotta learn. You gotta learn the lesson. Because when you don't, you continue to put yourself in those same situations. So even if you leave this relationship or you leave this job, but you don't learn, okay, this is why it didn't work out. You go to the next relationship, you go to the next job, you're still that same person. So you're still going to rub people the same way you've always rubbed them, and you're going to get the same results you've always gotten because you're not taking time to learn the lesson. Because a lot of us are always quick to, oh, it's this person's fault, it's that person's fault. And mind you, to me, when things don't work, it's enough blame to go around. Yes, that person may have done some things, but I'm pretty sure you've done things too, because none of us are perfect. So it's always about, what can I take from this? It's not always about pointing the finger at other people. It's sometimes about, okay, even if it's a situation where you didn't cause it, you weren't to blame, whatever the case may be. It's all, you can also look at yourself in those type of situations and go, okay, what could I have done to make that situation better? Or if I was in that situation, what would I have done? How would I have reacted? And sometimes you're going to realize I would have reacted the same way and probably gotten that same result. So you can learn from other people's situations too, but the main thing is just to start learning from these situations so that you don't find yourself in the same situation. Because, man, it is so hard for people to let go of who they are. You got to think, a lot of us, myself, I'm 33, so I got 33 years of being this version of myself. It's hard to let go of that. It's hard to say, okay, yes, I was trauma taught me this. Trauma raised me to be this way and all of these things, but it's like, this is me, this is who I am. I don't want to change, but it's like, you may not want to, but you have to. And yeah, some things are going to trigger you. It's always important to learn from every situation that you go through. It's also very important to find the positives in everything that you go through. So one of the things that I can say, even about my last job that I talked about, I liked a lot of my coworkers. Very cool, very friendly people. I didn't like how my situation was handled, but one of the bright spots about it is it motivated me to start doing videos and to start doing podcasts. So there's always a bright side or something to be thankful about in every situation. And I think that it's always important to find those things to be thankful about and find those things that are positive in every single situation. So like I said, with that last situation, I'm probably not doing this right now if my last job doesn't go the way it goes. I'm probably still doubting myself. I'm probably still paralyzed by fear if my last job doesn't go the way that it goes. So as much as I don't like, or I'm not a fan of that manager and the way he handled me in that situation, I honestly, from the bottom of my heart, have to be thankful for him, because without him doing what he does, I'm not here right now. I'm not motivated to push past my fear to do this podcast and to do these videos. So many great things have come from a terrible situation. So you might be going through something terrible right now. You might be going through something hard right now. You might be going through something frustrating right now. But man, just realize, as long as you don't give up, that's not the end of your story. This loss that you're taking, this failure that you're going through, this end of a relationship, this end of a phase, this end of a marriage, whatever it is that you're going through right now that has you feeling like life is beating you up, it's okay. You just got to go through it. Don't try to run from it. Don't try to run around it. Just go through it. Go through that pain. Go through that hurt. Go through that heartache. Go through it. But also understand, find the lessons, and then find the positive things that can come out of it. Because so many times you're in a, I'm going to just use a relationship, for example. You're in a relationship with someone and y'all aren't doing anything but hurting each other. That's it. But it's so comfortable. Again, you're in that comfort zone and you don't want to get out of your comfort zone, so you don't want to get out of your struggle. But you're doing nothing but hurting each other. That person's hurting you, you're hurting them. Y'all aren't helping each other. You're not building, you're not creating, you're staying stagnant and staying in the same place because you're scared of the unknown. You're scared of what lies outside of what you're comfortable doing, where you're comfortable being, who you're comfortable being around. And it's like, man, there's no growth there. You've grown as much as you can. Your relationship is here and you've filled up all of this space, but you know what I'm saying? You're ever growing, you're ever learning, you're ever improving. And it's like, if you don't give yourself that room to grow, that room to improve, or you don't give that person that room to grow and that room to improve, you're hurting yourself. So sometimes your comfort, a lot of the times, most of the time, your comfort zone becomes your cage. And so it's very scary getting out of that cage. You know, sometimes you just want people to push you out the cage until that way it's like, okay, I have no other choice but to get out that cage. But, you know, it's better to step out on your own because it's so many things on the other side of fear, on the other side of that comfort zone for you, man, because it's like you don't even realize, like one of the things about me, didn't realize so many things about myself until I got out my comfort zone and I started messaging people and writing them and asking, hey, how do you do this? Hey, what's the setup for this? Hey, what's the setup for that? And it's like, wow, I didn't know I had this level of passion for recording or for editing. I'm not perfect or anything like that, but I do have a passion, so I want to learn. But I would have never known that if I didn't go through that bad situation. So that leads me back to, just because you're going through this bad situation, don't think that that's the end of your story. You are not your situation. You are not your failures. You are not your mistakes. You're not your bad decisions. Those are just part of your story. Just don't choose to give up, because when you give up, then that does become your story. That does become you, because you're allowing it to stop you from moving. We're always moving. You gotta move, even if you have to move backwards 2-3 steps to gain 6-7 steps forward, or if you have to move a step or two to the side, to either side, to move forward. You gotta do what you gotta do, but just don't give up, because there's always a way. You might not see it, but somebody else might. You might not understand how powerful you are. You may not see how great you are. You might not see the talent inside of you, because sometimes I go through that, but other people do. Other people see it. So just keep going, because you never know who you're motivating, who's watching you right now go through your struggles, and it's just like, okay, they're not letting that stop them, so why should I allow what I'm going through to stop me? Or they're saying, dang, this person, I look at this person and they're so strong, and dang, that just stopped them. Now I don't even want to go through it. So it's like, and I get it, you know, you, and I get it. You might be saying to yourself, well, I'm not a leader. I'm not a motivator. I'm not this. I'm not that. That's not my calling. That's not what I'm here to do. And you may or may not be right, but that doesn't change the fact that people are watching you. People are looking at every step that you take, and they're planning their steps according to you. There are people that I'm watching. I'm watching them do their podcasting thing. And one of the mistakes that I personally made was watching someone on year 8 of their podcast journey and how it looks and how well it is, and thinking, okay, that needs to be my starting point. Someone's level 8 needs to be my level 1. And it created unrealistic expectations for me, because now I'm looking at it like, okay, it needs to be perfect. I need to rent out a space to do my podcast and all of this and all of that. And so I messed myself up because I didn't go back to what their very first podcast looked like. I'm looking at podcast 101 instead of podcast 1 and podcast 2, and seeing like where people started, and then realizing, okay, it does get better. Just because you start at a level don't mean you have to stay at this level. So yes, I'm starting at a level, but no, I don't plan on staying at this level. I do plan on leveling up when the time comes, but right now I have to start somewhere, and I can't keep allowing my fear and my excuses to stop me from starting. So this is me starting. This is me trying to motivate other people who might be wanting to start something new but are scared to, or unmotivated to, or whatever the case may be. Like, it's time. Right now is the time to start doing it, to start just hit send, or just hit record, or just put it out there. If you've already recorded it, edit it, put it out there. You know what I'm saying? So stop being afraid of what could go wrong. You know, it could be 1,000 things that could go wrong, but if one thing goes right, hold on to that one thing and start to build on that. So, man, we got to stop allowing our fears to control us. We got to stop allowing our fears to dictate everything that we do, every move that we do and don't make. Because, man, yeah, we're going to mess up. This is going to be your first time trying something new. This is my first time trying something new. You're going to hear this podcast and you're going to be like, oh, he could have done better here, or oh, man, he could do better there. And, man, if you feel that way, leave it in the comments. Let me know. Let me know what I'm doing well. Let me know what I'm not doing well, what I can improve on. Because for me, I'm taking all of this and I'm just trying to build. I'm just throwing something out there to see how it goes, because I'm tired of allowing my fear to control me. So that's what motivated me. That's what motivated the name of this podcast. That's what's motivating me to do this first episode, is just letting myself know, okay, hey, fear is no longer going to control me. Fear is no longer going to control what I do, how I move, the decisions that I do and don't make. And neither is my comfort zone. That's another thing that I'm trying to get out of, is my comfort zone. I'm not going to allow my comfort zone to decide my decisions for me either. So just to wrap this conversation up, man, just go for your dreams, go for your goals, quit allowing your comfort zone and your fears to stop you. All right, that's it for today's episode. Wherever you're listening, please leave a review. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and comment. Thank you.